Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Teesha. I hope you're all doing super fantastic. I am doing well. We are about a week from the end of the first quarter of school, and so I thought I better do the teacher catch-up story, the my teacher story, and I also want to throw a little Bath and Body Works in here because that's really what the channel's about. So I'm going to do that first, and then if you want to stick around for my rambling and catch up, then you are welcome to do that. But yes. Hi, hello. I hope you're all doing well. This is finally not a haul video. Yay. And I'm just filming these so that when you're watching this, I'm probably on a short little trip to visit family, hopefully, if my car stays on the road, because I've been hearing some new noises. That's fun. But what I wanted to do today, because I thought this month was a really funny month. Like, it was at the end of my first break I've taken since I started YouTube almost 2 years ago, when I started my teaching position. And then they started this new weekly drop at Bath and Body Works, and it was really interesting. And I was able to get all 5 of them, which is crazy because I really took a good long time after semi-annual sale off of Bath and Body Works. I was really behind, but I wanted to kind of rank these just based on the uniqueness of the scent. You know, the most unique scents were probably the ones that I would have only picked up because of this like unusual candle drop. Like, if these were scents that were brought out all the time, I would definitely not be interested in them. But just because of the way that they were like presented, I went ahead and grabbed them. And then I just want to talk about the labels and how they did the drops and everything, and then kind of let you know my ranking of the scents in terms of what I actually like. So in terms of the most unique thing that they have done, now I know over the years they've done quite a few things with their different collections, but I thought this was really fun, a good way to bring people into store, because for the beginning of it at least, you couldn't even do buy online, pick up in store. Like, you had to go in store and find this little limited edition, limited quantity set of candles. And, you know, they didn't give us your ordinary basic scents. Even, I would go as far as to say popular scents. These were very, for the most part, unique scents to Bath and Body Works. So I thought kudos to them for that. And then I feel like for the most part, they make sense. I think one does stick out is that it doesn't really make sense. And I kind of want to know your thoughts on that. So in terms of the most unique scents, I'm going to go ahead and rank them based on that. And I think the most unique scent is definitely Candied Maple Bacon, because this actually smells like cooked bacon. Like that it's actually cooking, or it was just cooked and you're walking in a house, and like, no one can hide cooking bacon. Like, you could not be a vegetarian that sneaky eats bacon on the side. Like, you wouldn't get away with your life. So this one is just so interesting, and I think it was smart of them to drop it first, because like this whole collection was so anticipated, and then they went ahead and dropped this scent first, and I think people were like, how hard is it gonna get? Now, if I'm being honest, I just went and picked up candle number 5 today. They still had some of these in my store. I have a very small mall store, so we're not in a high volume area anyway. But in terms of getting my hands on these, it wasn't that hard for me. And I'm glad that's true, because I remember back in the day, you had to be standing in line an hour plus early for Candle Day to get one of the 5 coveted Candle Day release scents. Like, they didn't have 18 in the store. No, like 6. And people were able to grab more than one. So like, if you loved that scent and you were first, you didn't have to leave any for anybody. And sometimes they didn't. Like, it was so awkward to stand behind someone that was about to drop one of the candles that you had stood in line for 3 hours to get, and they didn't have a basket or anything. They were just waiting for someone to come. And I was like, man, I would love one of those 6 candles you just picked up. That wasn't the case with this, but I do see that, like, for the longest time, they've been just restocking to the point where they were getting them back from semi-annual sale for brand new candles. And now we've changed all the policies and things, and just never can stay golden era. But this whole collection to me I'm really rambling at this point. Really kind of seemed like going back in time to when Bath and Body Works was so unique and would do really adventurous things with their releases and, you know, out of the box, and we would remember those. But like for me, I need a little donut in here or chocolate or something because I'll never burn this candle. Now, I have watched reviews because I still like to watch all my friends, and they're right. Like, you totally could burn this with a couple of really sweet scented candles. But for me, I just want this for the collection. I thought it was so neat that they put a color changing label on this set, because not only was it special because you could only get a certain amount and the scents were so unique, but then like it actually is really neat to see some of these candles on burn because this changes color. Now, as I'm going to continue ranking these, I do want to point out one more thing. These candle labels, and it could have just been the design, it could have nothing to do with like an Easter egg for the future, but all of these scents were marked new, but there was a little circle there that said Vault, and I thought that was really fun because I was like, maybe the next set they come out with, they'll be marking that. So the next unique scent that came out was the last one, which was Thanksgiving Celebration. And when I saw like all 5 of the candles, I thought these 2 were going to be the most unique scents, so it didn't surprise me. However, I was like, what is a mashed potatoes and gravy candle going to smell like? Now, I was a fan of that pizza candle. I actually burnt it, and I wish I would have kept it, because now if you look on my card, they're $50. I remember at some annual sale, they couldn't give away the candle, the pizzeria candle, but I know that this isn't the first time they've done a real foodie, not dessert candle. This just smells like sage stuffing to me though, like the very spicy part of stuffing, maybe a little bit of gravy, but like the peppery part, like it's cooked and it's just like sitting there, you can really smell the pepper. Ironically enough, this is Aaron's favorite of the 5. He smelled all 5 and he likes this one the most. So, but he's a big fan of stuffing. Like, we have to have stuffing in the middle of summer sometimes for him just so he can have his fix. Then I thought this one was probably the most like unique also when I look at what's left. And I'm truly like also ranking these most unique, and they're just falling in place as to like my least to favorite. So I'm just so basic that of course I like the least unique candle the most. But salted caramel pretzel, it does really smell like that soft baked Auntie Anne's pretzel. And I know that like with body care, a lot of times Bath and Body Works duping fragrances. So I thought, you know, they're probably coming at us from like specific restaurants. I just don't know. I'm not a foodie on that level to be like, this is Auntie Anne's pretzels and this is, you know, Boston Market, some side dish. Like, because, you know, they're inspired by scents that they've smelled. Then they put them together and they give them to us. So this really has that soft baked pretzel vibe. I don't think it smells like anything. I thought this one would definitely smell like something we already had, but it really doesn't to me. Lots of butter, not a lot of sweetness, so I'm not picking up the caramel heavy, but I could see probably that will come out on burn. But again, marked new, love the label, but I only grabbed one of each of all of these. And then I would say next, truly the most unique scent is mixing Sweater Weather with sweet cinnamon pumpkin. Now, I will say this is the one to me that doesn't seem like it belongs in this weird, unique collection whatsoever. First of all, we've had these scents specifically, and they did a mashup like this for us for semi-annual sale, which I loved as well. But these all are foodie, unique scents, and then this is just a mashup of 2 scents that we get and that are very popular rotation from Bath & Body Works. So I'm kind of like, did you just need one more? But you didn't, because you could have done 1 per week. This was kind of a candle that came in a mix and made like 2 weekly drops in 1 week. And we're all like, what's going on? Because we're trying to figure it out and we can't just enjoy it and sit back and relax. But again, it got the color changing label, says new scent. This is a really nice mix of juniper berries, aromatic eucalyptus, warm cinnamon, and fresh ground cloves. So they did take the best of both worlds. You can definitely pick up a hint more of the Sweater Weather in here, which I really do like that candle a little bit more than I like Sweet Cinnamon Pumpkin. But again, Sweet Cinnamon Pumpkin really does remind you of fall. It has been around forever at Bath & Body Works, and so we love it, or we're just sick of it if we're talking about like meh. But it is a staple. It is a very popular candle. But for me, this one just seems out of place with the rest of these candles in terms of what they were trying to get to, in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts down below, please. So that is my number 2 in terms of the one I like the most, as well as find to be number 4 in terms of uniqueness. So like I said, 5 to 1 is uniqueness and 1 to 5 is my like. So I think this one is the 5th most unique and the one I like the most. This is the only one that I actually asked if I could buy a backup of, and it's the chocolate espresso martini. I knew when I saw this collection drop, this was the only one I was gonna like love. If I only could get one, I knew I wanted to try this one. This has notes of coffee liqueur, espresso, splash of vodka, dark chocolate swirl. And I'm happy to say, again, I wasn't sure until I put my nose on it that these two are the two that I'm like, could they have just gave us something else with a new label? But I do not think that they did. I think these really are new scents to me. This is very heavy on a liqueur scent. I do get a tiny bit of coffee and I get the dark chocolate. So it doesn't smell like any other chocolate scented candle, but on cold, this is so, so good that I backed it up. And I'm really happy that I did. So this is my absolute favorite of the set. So that's my thoughts on the weekly drop. I really hope they do it again. I really hope they're giving us some kind of teaser with the label, with that new and the vault. I'm really hoping the vault means like, they could do so much with this concept because they started it with the semi-annual sale mashups. And then they gave us this really unique collection in a weekly drop format. I'm hoping, and that's why I supported it, that we gave them enough of a positive response to keep stepping out of their comfort zone with champagne toast. And because we've already got champagne toast for fall, I've seen it in store today. And I'm hoping that they continue to give us really unique things, but I would really love for them to go into the vault, find us some awesome Christmas, winter scents, and then I would love to see it for every season. There's some fall scents I miss. There's some summer scents I miss that I won't pay Mercari prices for. And I just, that was like, what is this? I'm just trying to figure it out, but I'm really happy I got my hands on the whole collection. Okay, so that's it for my Bath & Body Works portion of this video. If you want to click off, I totally get it. But if you wanted to hear all about the teaching experience, and I'll share little bits that I can with you here, I will. So I'm going to start from the beginning. So I'm going to try not to make this video too long, but you might want to slow me down because I'm going to probably talk fast, and I already do. So my teacher story started in 3rd grade, which makes my life so full circle that I was actually given a 3rd grade teaching position because I waited so long, 30 years to be exact, that, I was going to take any grade, but I just kept putting off my dream because if I'm being honest with you all, something I'm not really great at is being uncomfortable. I told you guys I wanted to do YouTube, talking to myself. I'm obviously really good at it. For probably 6 years before I just set my phone down and like filmed a haul of just pulling stuff out of Bath & Body Works bag and being like, isn't it cute? Yay, yay, yay. And then it was all of you being supportive, encouraging, and just kind of connecting with me in the comments and saying keep going and that you loved what I was doing that kept me here, because I loved what it was, but I had no expectations of it. But like, without you all, I wouldn't have been connected to it. I really love relationships, and that's a big part of what teaching is. I actually always kind of been worried I wasn't smart enough to be a teacher, but I do love children enough to learn everything that is a 3rd grade standard. So right now, so far, so good. But it really, my entire life could be summed up in one thing I've heard. It would be that you decide what to do because of someone, in spite of someone, or because you tried something completely different and you realized that it wasn't like a part of your soul. And so my teacher story, which I call it my skip it story, really started because of someone who was my 3rd grade teacher, Mrs. Andrews. So, we look at kiddos and we focus on their behavior, and we really try to hold those expectations high, but we always have to stop and say, what's going on? And I was, as I am now, this super bubbly person, I was always trying to make someone happy and laugh, and everyone had a friend, and that was me, like from a small child. I got kicked out of preschool because I was too social. That's a story for another day. But basically I was like writing and reading, and they're like, hey, some other kiddo could use this spot. And I was doing the work of my friends because I wanted to help them. So I was writing their name for them, and that was their time to practice. So anyway, long story short, I got kicked out of preschool because I didn't need it. And, I was always that person. And then in third grade, I just started wearing a lot of kid black. So, like New Kids on a Black shirt, but it was black, or like Beauty and the Beast shirt, but it was black. And I was very quiet and I was struggling. And it was because of a lot of stuff at home. My parents had both like remarried at that point, started new families. I moved out to a new school. I moved from being in town to being out in the country where I had no friends. And so everything had changed. And the only person that noticed was my teacher. And again, it's not that my parents didn't, but they were in the middle of a high point of, a valley and a hill of their life. And I was in a valley. So I remember my dad had come home for spring break and brought me a brand new Skip It. And in 1993, when I was in third grade, that was a brand new hot toy. And I even had a hot pink one. And it was a really big deal. And he had brought it home to introduce me to my new stepmom. And I just remember the Skip It. And I was like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. Skip It. Yay. Like, I'm going to be so cool. I took it to school the first. And believe it or not, guys, I had someone that didn't like me. I know. And so I got picked on a little bit. That's okay. I think this person now is a very beautiful, amazing person. But at the time, maybe she was going through something. But I was picked on quite a bit by this one person. So I'm not saying anything targeted. It was, the 90s. We didn't use those words as much. But I really had a hard time. So I took my Skip It to school. And I was like, this is going to help me get friends. And, I was 9 years old. And so this person took my Skip It and, smashed it against the side of the building, and it literally broke into two pieces. And I remember running in school, throwing it in the garbage, not talking about it, and just went inside, and my teacher just let me draw on the board, and she never really made me tell her what was upsetting me, and she just was this calm person helping me breathe over in the corner. And I remember that weekend she brought so we lived out in the country now, and we were down this lane, and you could see cars coming, but it's I didn't know who that car was. And so I remember her getting out of her car, and she came up to the door and she's like, hey, my daughter left for college and she left this Skip It in the basement. Would you like to have it? And it was a yellow one, and it didn't look super used. And I was 9, but I didn't realize that that toy just came out that year. So she went out and got me one, and I never took that one to school. That was a very prized possession. It had, I got to sleep on the other side of the bed, and it meant so much to me that she took her Saturday to go out of her way to just try to fix that in the way that she could. And what I realized when I looked back, when I started, I remember from that day forward, sorry, long story short, that I always told people that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to be a third grade teacher. So I didn't want to be Rainbow Bright anymore. I didn't want to be Gem anymore. I was going to be a third grade teacher. And I knew it's because I wanted to make other people feel like she had made me feel. Now, everyone's story is different, and it took me a very long time to get there. I didn't actually go to college until I was 27. And then when I was graduating college, ready to go into the teaching field, there was a massive overabundance of teachers. I remember in 2010 that you couldn't find a teaching job. It was so hard. I'm saying there were definitely jobs, but not like today. Not when you hear about these shortages everywhere. I remember in the small town I lived by that had 4,000 people, 250 people applied for one second grade teaching position. You could send in an application that was never going to get seen. And it felt very defeating because I wanted to do what someone had done for me. And I was putting it on hold and putting on hold for other things. Well, I was now about to become a mom. So Aiden was about to be born, and I needed something that was secure. So I went into Head Start just to wait out the teacher shortage, truly. And so you get into it and you get going, and then everything started changing. And I remember thinking, I still want to do this with my life, but everybody was jumping out of it, and it kind of scared me to jump into it. So I thought there was definitely a reason. I knew that their reason to go into teaching was totally different than mine. It could be that their family had been teachers, or that a teacher had inspired them, or that they had tried something else and it was totally different. But so I knew that was the thing, but I just didn't know why everybody was leaving. And I had started to become a coach, like a mentor coach for Head Start. So I would go in and support new teachers and try to help them feel like this really, really, really hard job was worth it. This really, really hard job was something that they could do, because there's a lot of times where your very best never feels good enough in this profession. And so I remember just putting my dream on hold for almost everybody. I'm not going to blame it on anyone, because it was really me not wanting to be uncomfortable. But I remember, I just thought, I can't do that to Aiden. Like, he needs me. He's little, and that teachers work around the clock. And then, my mom when she was sick, and then, we moved to Kentucky, and I was like, well, the pandemic, and like everything shut down, and like there was never the right time. Well, then I turned 39 last year in November, and I thought, I don't want to be older than 40 when I start being, because at 27 I felt old. So can you imagine what 39 felt like 12 years later? And then between there, I had actually gone on a few interviews and gotten to like a second round. And then one time I think I was about to get the job, but we were moving, and I knew that I would have to leave that role. And I just felt it was more fair to give it to someone that could stay for the whole year, because I do know that children need somebody that's going to be there all the time. So, again, that was just bad timing. But anyway, I decided, well, I'll try to take the test. There's a test that you have to take to transfer your license. I was like, and that will determine whether or not, if I'm not smart enough, I can't do it. And I passed it, and I was like, okay, well, now I think I have to apply. And I only applied to a couple schools, mostly because I don't know where we're going to end up. And county to county it's a lot of traveling. So I wanted to kind of pick a place I thought we would be for the long haul. So I thought, okay, I'm putting a lot of eggs in this basket, because I am 39 now. So I'm just telling myself I don't want to jump after this point. And so it was funny, because I had my first interview with this school, and I don't want to name the school because, they do so much to protect their kiddos, but it's an amazing school. And I cannot tell you how awkward I was in that interview. It was really hard to talk about things that I had done in 2009, like it was yesterday, and just all the changes and everything. So I was just as awkward as I am on here, but like, they didn't already love me like you guys do. But, anyways, I got a second call, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do much better. I'm going to follow all the tips and tricks. And I just remember waiting on that call back, and I wanted it so bad. I was actually traveling home to get Aiden, because he had stayed the summer with my family. And I got the call, like I was about 2 hours from home, but I was making my very first ever 8-hour drive by myself, because every time I've either had Aaron or Aiden when we travel back and forth, I was all by myself. And so it was a lot of thinking time, and I was just like, well, how will I do this? Maybe I don't want them to call me. How will I be, do this, which I love, do that, and be good enough. Be here for my family. And Aaron and Aiden have stepped up so big to do all the things that I can't do to try to be a better teacher. How can, Aiden, I was like, I just raise himself for the year, because the one thing that I will say, and if we've built a relationship and you know me, this is not to complain, is that you never feel like your job is done when you're a teacher. Like, I feel selfish sometimes to film videos or to stop and like go have dinner with my family, because I always can be doing something more. Now, I'm new and I will find a groove, but like, that balance is so necessary for your mental health. Like, I had to make videos because I started to realize that like, this is a place that makes me feel safe and makes me feel like you guys really know me, almost more so than people in my real life do, because this is me just chatting, and then you guys watch and respond, and I can tell that you watch the video because you're responding in the 20th minute of ramble, not the first 30 seconds, like of a giveaway video. And I'm just saying, like, right now is really hard because I'm so uncomfortable at being so new at something. But I love my kids, and I want to be the best I can for them. I want to be the best I can for you guys. So, I'm working through it, but it's hard. It's really hard because you cannot allow yourself to not feel good enough for 1 second. Kids can smell fear, no, but they, I think they can tell when you're off. So like, putting all that aside to just be there. And like, I've gotten some great comments and advice. Thank you, Kim Smith, that was one of the best comments I've ever had, was just to be present and be myself and share as much of my life as I can with them that's comfortable, so that I love that Rita Pearson is one of my education champions. I don't know why, I just ever since I found her, I always knew that someday I could do this, even if I was 50 or 60, even if it was for 1 year. And she said that kids don't learn from people they don't like. So I've been really working on that balance of like finding time for us to have fun together and learn and grow together, and then like keeping up with the learning, because it's like, let's go, we got all this to do. And it's just that balance, because they're 8 years old and they've been through a lot more than I had at that age. But I want to stop rambling and just say that I'm in a season where I want to come on here and share this stuff with you and share like my thoughts on candles with you. But like, I also really want to talk about what I can about my job. And if I come on here and cry, like I actually did, I have tried to film this video before, but I was emotional and I was like, that's not going to make any sense. I'm in a good place today, so this was a really good day to film it. But every day is different, because I really have a hard time letting people down. So if I get through the end of a really hard day and I forgot to call somebody, that's really hard on me, because it's just not my style. Like I just seem to be on top of things, and I know I'll figure it out. And I really hope that I'm good enough for these kiddos, because they deserve it. But, you know, I guess all I'm trying to say is that I finally get to say that I put my dream first, and I'm still trying to be the best mom ever and trying to be, you know, the best everything ever. But this is a dream I had to give back to teaching the way that my teacher gave back to me. So do I still have that skip it? Yes, I do still have that skip it. Is it still working? I don't know if that little counter still works, because I'm not going to put it on my ankle and I'm not coordinated enough. But back in the day, because I could skip it like nobody's business. So thank you so much if you've watched to this point. Thank you for the kind comments. The few of you that sent me little gifts for my classroom, that means so much to me. I'll never, ever, ever, ever get rid of those little cards. The other little things that I've found in my post office box, you guys have no idea. The days I found those were just days that was a pick me up, and it was so sweet of you. The sweet letters, I've gotten some really sweet handwritten letters, and I just find that to be so amazing. I will write you guys back as soon as I can and get some cute stationery. I didn't want to just like whip out a piece of notebook paper. Maybe I could do that too though. But thank you so much for supporting me, thinking of me, waiting for me to make a video, and still being here when I finally get a chance to post it. Because I don't want to give this up. It's a new dream. It's not a 30-year-old dream, but now it's definitely just a part of me that I'm not ready to let go of. So I'll post when I can. I'll try to make my content as relevant to what the channel is supposed to be about as I can. But just thank you guys for the support, because I feel like I've been a very supportive person, and you need that too. People that are supportive need support. And so I hope someone in your life is supporting you the way you guys have supported me. So thank you for listening to my skip it story and why I want to be a teacher, and the fact that I am a teacher now. And even if I only make it through 1 year, I got to do it. And you guys, I just can't tell you how many dreams I didn't go through with. So I'm not going to cry, but I'm sure my voice sounds a little weird, and I apologize for that. But this is so big for me, just like the day that I posted my first video and you guys were like, we love you. And I was like, no, really? Like, really? That's so cool. And like I said, I absolutely love being a mom. So everything that's happened in my life happened for a reason, and it was in God's timing, not mine. So that's good. So maybe that's why I'm 39 and starting teaching instead of 21. Maybe I would have really messed it up at 21. But yeah, when I talk to people that are on their like 19th year of teaching, and we're like pretty close to the same age, like a year or two difference, I'm like, what's that going to look like when I'm older? But I'm not going to think about that. I'm going to think about this year, and that I finally was able to be given this opportunity, and that I'm not, it's not lost on me. That's all I'm going to say. So thank you if you watched this point. I really want to know your thoughts on this collection, as well as your thoughts on your dreams and what you wanted to achieve. And honestly, like, we can totally have a whole conversation down there in the comment section about going for your dreams. Don't give up on your dreams, because I'm living proof that you shouldn't. Because I was always waiting to be thinner and richer and yada yada, or to do these things. And sometimes we just have to be a tiny bit uncomfortable to get the biggest blessings. So I'm probably gonna go and work on something for school so I feel better. And I just really appreciate you guys listening. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in a video very soon. Bye.